Hello there, guys. Welcome back to another episode of E&Ftv. Thank you so much for joining us again this week. Before we get into this really great episode, I just want to say don't forget to like this episode, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to the channel. We are trying to bring you fantastic content every single Thursday. And to do that, we need a brilliant community around us. I think we're just shy of 400 subscribers now, with over 300 videos live on YouTube. So we've got a huge catalog of leaders, inspirational people in the industry, and we'd love for you to join that community. So don't forget, subscribe to the channel. So without further ado, we've got a brand new guest with us this week and someone that I've known for a little while in a couple of different capacities. Erika, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Tom. I'm so glad to be here and, finally making it to this, channel.
Oh,
And like you said, we know each other for a long time in
yeah.
various different capacities. So it's good to chat with you again.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Erika Bucsi, who is Enterprise Director at Cendyn, and we're going to be hearing all about mainly your focus within Cendyn. And for anybody that doesn't know anything about Cendyn or hasn't used their product or service before, we're going to be going into that today. And if it's something that you feel could benefit you, your team, your business, I know that Erika and her team would love to hear from you. So we will be putting all of Erika's details down below if you want to get in touch about the Cendyn product. So, Erika, let's get into it, shall we? With all of
Yes.
our guests on the channel, all of our guests always give us a bit of a background, a bit of a who you are, what's brought you to where you are now, and I suppose a little bit about what you currently do within your role, which I find particularly interesting for a number of reasons, which I know we'll be coming on to. But I'm going to hand over to you. I'm going to shut up. Go ahead. Tell us all about you, Erika.
Thank you. So I was always in hospitality. Actually, it goes back to when I was 9 years old, and for the very first time, I went on a trip to the UK. And I fell in love with traveling, fell in love with languages, and learning about new cultures. So I decided already at that point I will be in hospitality. So I
Right.
studied hotel management in Vienna. And after that, I went into the industry. I was working in hotels for 12 years
Yeah.
across the world. I was in the US. I was also in the Maldives. It was a
Hmm.
pretty nice little break. But most of my time I spent in London in large
Mm.
MICE properties because for some reason I always navigated towards, meetings or events or banqueting. I
Yeah.
love that environment, and I always stayed in that environment. Initially, of course, in operation, then in sales, and then at the end, in my last role, I was actually in charge of MICE revenue for
Right.
just the segment. So it was an interesting role where you work together with the room revenue.
Yeah.
Not many hotels have that, of course, but my
Mm.
background was really the large properties. So I was with the Hilton London Metropole. I opened Westminster Bridge Park Plaza, and then my last role was the Novotel London West. And I really enjoyed being in these properties and
Yeah.
do whatever I can to set up great events and of course increase my revenue.
Of course.
And after the hotels, I switched over to the dark side, as many of us say, in the vendor space. So for the last 10 years, or maybe even a little bit more, I stopped counting. I'm working for different, hospitality technology companies. I
Yeah.
started first with Amadeus. I was in charge of Delphi. And then I joined Cvent through really the Lanyon acquisition. And that was again, of course, my specific. And now for the last 8 years, I'm representing a product called Noland. And Noland is also a MICE market intelligence tool. And it got acquired in October by Cendyn last
Yeah.
year. So that's how I'm now part of the big Cendyn family.
Amazing, amazing. And in terms of your role then within Cendyn, what is that? What do you cover?
Yeah, so for the last 8 years, since I'm really with Nolan, my role evolved a lot in terms of the product. So I was looking after initially Europe, then EMEA as a whole, and then eventually also APAC. So I'm really supporting both operations as well as commercial functions within the Nolan product itself at
Right.
Sunline. And I learned a lot over these years because, like I said, I'm not just doing sales, I'm not just doing,
Yeah.
operations. It's very much data driven as well. There is a lot of marketing, so it's a very exciting space. But what I was always trying to help the company with is entering into new markets,
Yeah.
growing our reach, and also educating the markets where we are entering to help hotels and also the industry to understand really mice as a segment and learn
Yeah.
more about it and grow mice in general.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And in terms of Cendyn as a whole, then, so for anyone that's not had any exposure to Cendyn, which I find sort of hard to believe, but they could be out there. Because I know you, but I've also seen Cendyn at many conferences and events that I've been to and heard them speak and so on. But for anyone that hasn't used the product, hasn't had exposure to Cendyn before, can you just give us a brief overview of what they do or what Cendyn does and how it supports its clients?
Certainly. So Cendyn is really an integrated technology solution
Mhm.
for the hospitality industry. Has so many different products, and maybe
Yeah,
that's why sometimes people don't really know, with which
absolutely.
product to really associate us with. But I think what makes it really nice that, we have so many different components that you can really,
Mm.
use and combine together to help you to, find more guests. Number
Yeah,
one, of course, that's
yeah.
for everyone's priority. So we do have, especially now, a brand new version of our digital marketing platform.
Hmm.
So that helps you to manage your ads and also your meta search campaigns from one single
Yeah.
platform. We've just actually rewritten the whole platform, so it's brand new. And we also do more. So we even offer full service digital marketing services. So
Right.
web, rate
So I
match.
didn't know that. Okay,
Oh, great.
interesting.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes, and I think, this is one of the best products in the portfolio. Of course, we have a
Right.
lot of other good products like Nolan, so
Sure.
I should say that, digital marketing product is the best, but it's one
Mm.
of the best for sure in the big portfolio. And we also then, of course, take you a step further as a client. So, it's not enough to find guests, but it's also important to, get them book direct. So that's
Absolutely.
where, a lot of other products that we offer come into play. So we
Yeah.
have a booking engine, we have a CRS, GDS Connect, of course, which is through Pegasus. Pegasus is also part of Cendyn.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Of course, we have Noland, so that helps you as well to drive MICE revenue. And we also have e-proposal and e-menu solutions, so integrating with Delphi and other systems. So again, it really just helps you to manage and also book more direct business.
Right.
But what everyone's goal is of course, grow your revenue.
Yeah.
And this is where, our CRM is definitely one of our strongest product as well. And I
Yeah.
would say probably what everyone knows Cendyn for,
Yes.
first
Yeah,
and
yeah.
foremost. And it is, great because it seamlessly integrates, the hotel guest data with multiple sources. We have about 200 integrations.
Hmm.
So it's definitely a very strong product as well. And we have additional, components there like loyalty or B2B sales. So
Yeah.
again, overall, we have, over 15 products. But of course, not everyone needs everything. So, what is good about Sendline, I would say, is that, we always assess what a client, needs and what would really
Yeah.
make that complete, integrated solution. And Noland is really an interesting product that came into the portfolio in October
Hmm.
because Sunline really wanted to also, focus more on the mice segment. It
Right.
is becoming one of the most important segments, or at least it is the most profitable. So it's
Glad to
definitely
hear it.
worthwhile to focus on it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it probably would have been better if I asked what Sendine don't do. Just
We
because
don't
the
have a
list is
PMS, right? Exactly.
honestly. But if there was, so say there was sort of a potential clients out there that were watching this episode now, what type of clients does Sendine deal with? Is it literally, any and all? Is it a very specific segment? What type of clients would you guys tend to deal with?
I mean, first of all, operate globally. We have
Yeah.
teams all across the world. So we have offices as well across the world. So
Mm,
I would say when it comes to the geographical reach, it's really,
yeah.
everywhere. And when it comes to, the type of clients, again, as you heard from the different solutions, we really work or can work with anyone, from,
Yeah.
the large brands, to also, independents or the small and medium,
Yeah.
enterprises. So yes, it really depends what the solution is, but we
Yeah.
have something to offer for, any type of hotel or hospitality business. And also, even with Nolan, we have also the scope, of course, to support DMCs or,
Yeah.
destinations. So yes, I think it's a very broad reach. It just really depends on the client's needs, but we have something for everyone.
Yeah. And what this was something I was going to sort of touch on was that you're someone that I always see is traveling here, there, and everywhere. You're very connected with your clients. You're very connected with obviously your industry. And I was gonna sort of ask, maybe within sort of your team, I suppose, but what's your focus with regards to working with the industry in terms of development of your products? Because when I've spoken to a number of industry tech companies, um, they've always sort of said, look, we work incredibly hard to make sure that we stay in touch with our clients. We make sure that our products are developed accordingly to what they need. What's Cendyn's position on that? Do you guys work very heavily with your clients? Are there certain clients that you generally catch up with quite frequently when your product is being developed? How does that work?
Yes, and I think that is very important,
Mm,
being as a vendor, no matter how big or small the company is, to keep close to the industry and
yeah,
really, develop together with the industry, because otherwise it's hard to, push a solution just because we think it works, if that's
yep,
not what the hotels really need. And I think, things change so often nowadays, not just after COVID, but really, the whole industry is evolving so fast, especially because of
yeah,
technology. If you look at it globally, it's not
yeah,
just hospitality. I mean, now with AI and all the other, technology pieces, development is really fast. And
yeah,
the requirements to develop as well, the, expectations of the clients that,
yeah,
we should, develop something very fast is there. So we
yeah,
really have to keep up with that. And it's not enough, to have great developers in the team. It's also
mm,
important, to feedback what we see in the industry and globally, of course.
yeah,
So we have luckily a very good internal system in place where from every single department we have like working groups, and from every department someone is part of that product specific
right,
working group, so that it's not just the product team, it's not just the developers, but someone from sales, someone from analytics, from data, from
mm,
all parts of the business is actually involved. And that helps, I think, for us to really drive the right product strategy.
absolutely,
Even next I mean this month, in a few weeks time, during high tech, we have a customer advisory board meeting. So again,
right,
we will be showing them what our current roadmap ideas are, and we will
yeah,
check with our biggest customers what they think.
yeah,
And of course, we don't rely just on them or just on that region. Of course, there it will be predominantly, people from the corporate offices in the US attending.
sure,
But we also, lead conversations, do regular surveys with customers across the world. And that can be, just a single hotel,
hmm,
just because we know that they are a really good user. So we also look at that, like, okay, if someone is a really good user, let's see, what works for them or why
yeah,
they find it so valuable. So, but that feedback loop is very important. And I think, like you said, any vendor that doesn't stay close to their clients or even prospects, because
yep,
again, in order to get someone as your customer, you might not have something that they want today, but you can get there with their help. And this
yeah,
is, I think, where we were very strong over the last few years as well, even under Nolan, and now with Cendyn even more, because we have more resources,
yeah,
and really Cendyn is very focused on you know really developing the products in line with the requirements of the customers and the industry in
interesting.
general.
Again, it's one of those where I can relate not from not from a tech supplier perspective, but when you said about not just clients but also prospective clients, if you're not sort of continuously checking in with even the people that aren't working with you, how are you ever supposed to get them to work with you, right? So no, I completely relate to that, and I think having that finger on the pulse, and it sounds like you guys have got a finger, well, all five, four fingers and a thumb on the pulse, but not just in certain regions. It sounds like in all regions, which is fantastic. Because again, how is your product ever going to develop with the industry if you're not working with them with it? So that's yeah, it's great to hear. Um,
And I think,
that
it's
brings,
interesting
oh
because
yeah,
the industry is so sorry that I cut you short there,
no,
but
no,
we found that over the years that, even the industry is not operating the same way in every
no,
single region. And we even had to change a little bit the product packaging because of that. So, but we were open to that.
hmm
Initially, we of course, didn't do it from one day to the other, but we did a lot of conversations with the different regions, and we
sure.
realized why they need maybe slightly different components, and we just addressed that. And I think that helps, of course, again, to be successful.
That sort of brings me on to the next question, which was you guys are so well connected with your industry, and as I said a moment ago, you're also someone that I see travels a lot and meets with people face to face, and I think that's really important. But you're also someone that really wants to get to grips with where the industry is and what it's doing and where it's advancing to, because tech is a big part of that, as you said earlier. What trends are you seeing from the conversations that you're having or from the more formal meetings that you're having in the capacity of Cendyn? What trends are you seeing in the market right now? What's interesting that would be worth sort of sharing with the audience?
I think, of course, one of those, and I'm not going to probably spend a lot of time on that because it really is everywhere, is AI.
Sure, sure.
So I think no vendor can not really focus on trying to come up with any kind of automation, or at least certain algorithms, or really a true AI component in their
Yeah.
system. So we've done some upgrades to even Noland and also to other Cendyn products recently in the
Okay.
first quarter of the year, and it was very well received. And maybe not necessarily just by the leaders in the
hmm
industry, but the actual end users. And that
Yes.
is often, again, two different set of groups, right? Because
Yeah.
people who sign the contract or make these decisions in corporate level as well, they are not the end users. So we always try to keep
Yeah.
that in mind as well. And on this occasion, when we were looking at the AI development, we were thinking, that okay, we have to, be more in line how today people really use technology and what their expectations are, especially when
Yeah.
it comes to, nowadays everyone is using ChatGPT, so natural
Mm.
language search is like, everyone's day to day. And we introduced that as well, for example, in Noland.
Mm.
Instead of, building a search, like a custom report, you can just, type in a prompt and the system will show you, the results, show you some leads that you can then, focus on. So and we saw, how the usage shifted. So people always use that functionality. It was always one of the most used functionality, the normal search capability. But
Yeah.
when we shifted it over to the AI search, people literally from one day to the other just moved on to that. It wasn't even,
Right.
that, oh, I'm used to using this form. I'm used to using, this capability. No,
Yeah.
the moment, it launched, everyone is migrated over kind of
Right.
naturally, because I think
Sure.
that's how people, use technology today. So, but yes, AI is one thing. I would say what really surprised me, but in a positive way, over the last couple of years, how much the industry started to focus as a whole on mice as a segment. Because
Yep.
up until COVID, I have to say I was very often, in the room with leaders or even with the hotel, sales team, trying to explain them why is it important to use our platform and our,
Yeah.
business intelligence, because of course everyone uses SDR. It's second
Yep.
nature. No one questions, certain BI tools. But when it comes to meetings and events, people were always like, oh, okay, okay, it wasn't priority.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I think, suddenly after COVID, and also when, the whole hype of the leisure, kind of faded away, and it was more like the normal business as usual, people realized that, oh, actually, people want to meet. And
Yep.
again, more and more, because, office is closed, right? So again, you can only bring people together when you meet face to face.
Yep.
So a lot of the destinations, because of course we follow the data globally, they were already way ahead, pre-COVID meetings and events levels, booking
Yeah.
levels. in 2023, right? So of course, some markets joined later and got ahead of the curve later. But it was great to see that also, in the corporate offices, when I
Mm.
attended some of the, bigger meetings, everyone was saying, oh, now we are shifting our focus to mice. It's no longer just, transient or leisure.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it was really good to see that. And of course, it is also, I think, more commonly known that, mice is really the fastest growing segment. So,
yep,
up until
absolutely.
in 2024, it was a $1 trillion US business, right? So, and in 10 years, it will double in size. So I have a feeling that, all the chains, but also, hotels and independents realize that I need to have part of that. I want to
Yeah,
share a piece of that
absolutely.
pie because this is really big. I mean, if you look at even leisure or corporate, they will not have that double, digit growth. So
No, absolutely not. And it's interesting. Obviously, this is quite close to our heart at the moment with regards to sort of M&E, specifically revenue management. Um, we started our journey, I suppose, in the late 2022, when an industry leader approached us about putting on an event that was purely focused on M&E revenue management because it was such a mystery to so many. There were some companies that were absolutely doing it brilliantly, but others that just didn't know where to start. And it was a really interesting one because I very naively, honestly, sort of said, "Yeah, let's do this. Let's fix M&E revenue management." Wow, the journey that followed after that, we're now in our third year. So we started. So we had our first event led by Heather Hart, and Heather, if you watch this one, is the absolute guru for M&E revenue management. Anyone that's in this space will know who she is. And she helped us create this journey and the white paper that, of course, we brought out that I know you're interested in looking at as well. And it's one of those where it just started open. Once you opened that box, it was unbelievable. There's just the amount of complexity, the amount of uncertainty, where to start, where to go, and also to get commitment from the industry as a whole to actually pursue this. And it's been really interesting. And I think you're absolutely right. There has been a massive boom in focus, a massive boom in technology and capability. Um, and that complexity has started to get a handle on it, and we're starting to see some really really cool change, and that's what I'm really excited to see where this now goes. Let's say in the next 5 years, because the development is just going to be huge, not just in industry, but also from tech, from you guys, but also others within the RMS space. There's some
yeah.
really cool stuff going on, really cool stuff.
Indeed, and I think it's like I said to you, close to my heart, and I'm so happy to see these
Mm,
developments because for someone who is in my since I've ever really started my career in hospitality,
yeah,
and I was always passionate about it and was focusing on education even within my
sure,
teams, to kind of. Get them understand how to really manage the revenue side as well, like
yep,
you said, which is hard if you don't have systems to support you or data to support you. So
yep,
I used to build my strategy, of course on data what I had available, but that's
mm,
your own data, right? So it wasn't
yep,
something out there that I could tap into like it is today. But also on gut feel. And that's, when you
yeah,
use your experience and gut feel, and that's how you make decisions. And
yeah,
maybe I was lucky, most of the time I was able to succeed and, grow the segment in the hotels I worked at. But it's so nice to see that nowadays, of course, like you said, we are not there yet as the vendor
no,
space. I
nope,
don't think we have enough where we have a complete, set of solutions.
sure,
But we are working towards that as well. And I think if, we partner with hotels and companies, and we really work together rather than,
mm,
again, just trying to, push one angle or the other, I think we could create something great that will help, like I said, certain systems are nowadays, second nature, and I'm
yep,
sure that's where we will get to eventually. But for that, we need, those kind of initiatives that you just mentioned, where
mm,
people really share and exchange, and that's how we
yes.
learn and we grow together.
I can't wait for you to join us on the 10th of July for our next event. because I think one, you're going to see it firsthand, the the passion that we've got around that table, because I think we've got 22 industry leaders around that table this time, from all types of different brands, from luxury, big brands, hospitality groups, hotel management companies, single properties, you
Mhm.
name it, they're around the table. We've actually got a couple of just venues as well.
Nice.
Um, and the mixture of expertise, focus, and I'd say this as well as the different levels of where they're at in their M&E revenue management journey. Because as I
Yeah.
say, there's a couple of people around that table. The ones that spring to mind: Leonardo, Claremont Hotel Group,
Yeah.
Radisson. Yet these guys are head and shoulders above many others, and it's great because they're able to share that journey and how they've got there and where we're going with it. And that's what I cannot wait for you to see and get involved in, of course, because as you said, and as we know, your background is in this. You're passionate about this area of the industry, and yeah, it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it.
And I think, it's
Oh
also
yeah,
nice because I learned a lot over the last, especially 8 years since I'm doing, really across EMEA and APAC. I
yeah,
learned a lot about, how different the industry is when it comes to mice as well, or how
yeah,
mature it is in certain markets, that are now taking a big share. Like, looking at the Middle East, how it
yeah,
evolved. It's incredible. And if you speak to leaders here, because I'm here at the moment, so that's why I'm just
yeah,
staying here. So I'm
yeah,
sitting in Dubai, but it is mind blowing, how much things are changing and shifting, and how they are addressing it. And here, for example, the focus when it comes from a revenue teams is
yeah,
so big. Like in a lot of the other regions, predominantly our users are still the commercial team, but mainly the sales team, right? The proactive
yeah,
sellers. And here, a lot of the users are revenue,
yeah,
and this is why I also had to kind of suggest that a few years back, internally, that maybe we need to look at the packaging of the product because of
yeah,
course, revenue has slightly different requirements. So sales is still using it, but we have so many revenue users in addition to the salespeople as well. So
yeah.
it's just nice to see the differences in the industry across the world. And
Absolutely.
I cannot wait, to return back to London, especially for this event, because
Yeah,
I haven't really, been in touch with the industry much over the last couple of years in the
yeah,
UK, and I really would like to see, how it evolved and, what are the latest, trends, or what are the biggest challenges to solve, because I'm sure
yes.
that together we can come up with some interesting ideas.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait to see you again. But also I can't wait for you to join us. So last question, Erica, and this is more about the future for Cendyn. So what exciting stuff have you guys got going on at the moment? Is there anything that you can give us a peek into what's coming?
Yes, so I think I need to unfortunately again just talk about Nolan by Cendyn because that's the product that I
Not
represent.
unfortunately, it's great. It's a
Uh,
great product.
no, I wish I could, share all the other updates about
Yeah,
Cendyn,
yeah.
but I think we wouldn't have enough time for me to share
Yeah,
all of
true.
that. I mean, there are lots of exciting things, and I'm happy to take, emails and, phone calls and
Yeah,
messages on LinkedIn, WhatsApp. But yeah, I think for the sake of time today, I will focus on Nolan. So what is coming is for me very exciting because I'm leading a special project within the company, which is about expansion. So we are, of
yeah,
course, operating in over 200 markets globally, but that is not enough. If you think about, the global MySpace, of course, there are lots of other markets that need our data. And
yeah,
this is why, I mean, one of the biggest areas that, we haven't been really active in for the last few years, really after COVID, is Europe.
yeah,
So one of the focus for the company this year and also moving forward is to reactivate all the European markets. We were in all the major cities, of course, before. So we are starting with London. It actually opened officially on the 1st of June. So I'm really happy
right.
that, it's the first couple of days. So of course, it
Ooh.
will take time to them, but
Yeah,
I can already, not open the bottle, but at least, celebrate a little bit that, we
absolutely.
have it started. We have our first, hotels that joined as pilot properties to really do a 6 months, complimentary trial period and give us feedback. So we really
Yeah.
are looking for partners who just want to test what we have now compared to what we
Right.
used to have, because of course the product evolved over the years. And just ram the data up with us and see how they can make more informed decisions, more data-driven decisions with our
Yeah.
intelligence. And that is a big change, of course, because that's not how hotels operate today, especially not in
No?
markets where we are not active and they don't have a similar, system in place. So I think it will be exciting to hear feedback from the hotels, and we are still, of course, waiting for properties to come forward if they are interested to join the pilot. There is still
Yeah.
time, and we will do this after this year on scale, ramping it up across Europe, but also across the world. So that will
Right.
include, of course, new markets in Americas, even though we have about 170 plus, and then also APAC and Middle East and Africa. So, what Cendyn really would like to do as a company with the Nolan product is to grow rapidly across the world and make
Yeah.
sure that, we become a data provider that, again, is like second nature. You have, mice as a segment in your business mix, then, you need to use our intelligence to make those
Yeah.
more informed decisions. So this is
Absolutely.
kind of
Yeah.
the project I'm leading and building a team, building, the whole framework around, scaling this and growing rapidly across the world. So we opened in the last few years as well new markets. So it's nothing new to us, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's new in Europe. So I'm excited to hear the feedback from, London first and other UK markets as well eventually, and then, the rest of Europe.
So incredibly exciting. What a journey it's going to be. And if anyone wants to, so you've still got some spaces left on the pilot. If anyone wants to jump on that pilot, how would they go about doing that? Do they just contact you? Do we leave some sort of link down below? What's best?
Yes, the best is to get in touch with me.
Yeah.
Then I can help, of course, with sharing more details. But yes, anyone who is interested, we would love to have more hotels, of course, online with us.
Yeah.
We are onboarding now the first, early adopters,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they are also eager to see more and more hotels joining, because really,
Yeah,
the more
absolutely.
properties are part of it, the more insights we get out of
Yeah.
the pilot as well.
The richer the data will be, right? That's the whole
Exactly,
point.
exactly. And
Um,
it's a big change as well that happened over the years that, pre-COVID, we haven't had automations in place. Now everything is, through APIs.
right.
So it's a much easier process, but it's also, safe for data protection perspective. So,
Yeah.
it's a very different ballgame than what it used to be pre-COVID when we were in Europe the last time.
Fantastic. And I suppose what would be really cool is if we maybe catch up, I don't know, sort of sometime next year after the pilot's all done, you've got the clients in, Europe is now underway. I think we'd all love to hear how that journey's gone and where you're at. And yeah, I'd love to do that if you're up for that in a few months' time, of course, not just yet. But
Definitely, it
yeah,
would be amazing. And what we also do every quarter, it's something that we came up with for all the other regions as well, is to do an educational kind of market trends analysis. And
right.
it's really exciting to see, how the markets evolve every
Yeah,
quarter, but also when you compare, the big global regions, and you
yeah,
see how different, segmentation trends are across, Americas versus EMEA or EMEA at the moment, or,
yeah,
APAC. So I think it's exciting to see that as well, that, really the world is not the same across the board when it comes to this segment either. There are big differences, and we keep a close eye with these quarterly analysis.
yeah.
So yeah, I would be, really happy to come back and share some insights,
Brilliant.
after the first 6 months.
Absolutely. We'd love that. We'd absolutely love that. Well, Erika, I want to say a massive thank you to you for taking some time out. I know you're in Dubai right now. You've probably got all sorts of things that you've got to get on with, but you're taking some time out to talk to me. So I really do appreciate it. I know that there's a lot of people in our audience that will find this really interesting. And I will say at the end to all, just to anyone that wants to engage with you on this, wants to jump on the pilot, then of course to get in touch. And I want to say a massive thank you to all of you for tuning into this week's episode. As I said at the start, we are trying to bring you fantastic content every single week with brilliant guests just like Erika. We're finding out from all types of different people in the industry what's going on, trends, what's happening in the industry, what the future holds, but also the different people in the different functions. And this is a fantastic opportunity to hear about what the industry is doing from a tech perspective and what's to come. So we hope that you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like the episode, comment down below your thoughts, and of course, subscribe. And of course, as I said earlier, if you want to get in touch with Erika, we will put all of her details down below. If you're interested in jumping on that pilot, please do get in touch with her. So thank you all for tuning into this week's episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.